It has been 10 years since Mario Kart 8 made its debut on the Wii U, and then 3 years later, we got what is possibly the best Mario Kart game, and what I consider to be the best racing game in general, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And with its DLC debuting 2 years ago, and wrapping up a few months ago, we now have a grand total of 24 cups, and a mind-boggling total of 96 tracks, the most amount of tracks in any Mario Kart game by a long shot. This is easily peak Mario Kart, and today I'm going to be counting down the 20 tracks that I consider to be the best ones in the entire game. Of course, quick disclaimer, this list is entirely my opinion. It's my own personal preference. If you disagree with my list, then that's fine. Now without further ado, let's get into this thing. Kicking out the list is Mushroom Gorge. I was honestly surprised that this track made a return in this game, and they made it a good one too. This track just gives me straight up vibes, man. I just love bouncing off of the mushrooms, and I even love going towards the returning gliding mushroom that was in Mario Kart 7. My only gripe with it though is the timing. It can be very frustrating when you miss time to jump from each mushroom. But aside from that, it's just a straight up good track all around that I was glad to see return in this game. Up next is Vancouver Velocity, the absolute best city track in this game. I love this track. Having it set 9 times is what really makes it for me. I also love how you can drive on a boardwalk, and heck, you could even go into a fucking ice rink. That's just how awesome this track is. And the music is such a bop as well. Easily the best Tour City track, hands down. Next is Piranha Plant Cove, the last original Nitro track returning from Tour. I don't know if it's just me, but this track gives me heavy Finding Nemo vibes. I don't know why, but the way how you spend a lot of time underwater really oozes with underwater feelings inside of me. This is definitely one of Tour's strongest tracks. I know some people aren't keen on the fact that the track layout changes in every track they brought in, like Paris Promenade, Tokyo Blur, Sydney Springs, etc. But I honestly really like this feature, as long as it doesn't get tiring after a while. A nice way to end off the Acorn Cup without a doubt. Coming in at number 17 is Peach Gardens, one of the few Mario Kart DS tracks made the cut. And talking of changing routes in certain laps, just like in the aforementioned Paris Promenade, the third lap changes its route and you play the rest of the stage in reverse. I honestly would have thought they would have done the bare minimum with this stage, like all 3 laps on the same route and nothing less. Especially since that's what they did when they returned in Mario Kart Wii. All in all though, I really appreciate this track returning. The unexpected reverse lap was cool, the music is nice, and it's just a nice throwback overall. Up next is Koopa Kid, another instant classic. I always appreciated this track ever since I played it in Mario Kart Wii, and I still really like it to this day. The music slaps, and I honestly feel like this is a much better water park than the actual water park track in this game. My only gripe with it though is that they removed the spinning electric rods and replaced them with the half pipe from Tour and the round things you hit in this game. That's unfortunate, but that doesn't come close to ruining this track for me. I love this track so much, and it is up there as one of the greats for sure. Coming in at 15th place, we have Bowser's Castle 3 from the SNES, and my oh my, what a track this is. They drastically changed this track so much from its original counterpart, while mostly sticking to the same layout. I love how at the beginning you get to drive in between walls of lava, which definitely gave me Syndrome Tech Wars vibes from The Incredibles. And you even get to go up to 3 different parts towards the end of the race before the U-turn. Oh, this track is so great, man. Another one of the greats for sure. Up next is another returning track from Mario Kart DS, Shrew Ridge. I vaguely remember playing Mario Kart DS as a kid, and you saw my games collection video, you know that I still kind of have the game, but is missing the game insert card, which stinks. But back to this track. When I first played this track, it was just pure nostalgia to me, and I remember thinking, I remember playing this track when I was a kid. so it was just another great throwback for sure. I know some people aren't too keen on it, but I honestly love this track a lot. Easily the best returning DS track for sure, without a doubt. Up next is probably a pretty controversial pick, Sweet Sweet Canyon. I love the idea of this track. Although you get to see gingerbread toads in sweet boxes in the audience, that was definitely a nice touch. And this track definitely gave me heavy Sugar Rush vibes. It really did. And that's why it deserves to be one of my favourite tracks of all time. Not much to say about this track other than it's a really great one. Up next is Ninja Hideaway. This is hella interesting. I love the layout of this track, and the theming of this track is so cool. A Japanese temple with ninja shy guys, but the thing that makes this track so cool is that you can race the whole stage on either a lower level or an upper level. Now that is creative. One of the best Nitro tracks from tour, bar none. Just missing out on the top 10 is Squeaky Clean Sprint. Ever since this was revealed in that June 2023 Direct, everyone was going nuts for it. And once it came out as a part of Wave 5, the hype was so real. To a point where it was considered one of the best ones in the series. I do think that this track is a tiny bit overrated, but I still think it's a great track overall. Easily the best tour track brought back into this game, bar none. Now we get on to my most controversial pick on this list. Coconut Mall. Just hear me out. I am aware that I'm going to get some slack for not putting this as high on the list as others, but the thing is, while this track is still great to race on, it's a little bit overrated. And I do stand with James A. Williams' opinion on this track. The saturation is just way too bright, and when the first wave came out, the cars in the parking lot didn't even move an inch! Thankfully, they later corrected that mistake in a later update, but that still doesn't fix the fact that fucking Tour did the cars better than this version did. And in my opinion, the best version of Coconut Mall is the one in Mario Kart 7. That doesn't mean that this version is bad by any means. It's still a lot of fun to race on and is up there in the top 10. Up next is probably another controversial placement, 3DS Rainbow Road. This track is so great, man. While this is up there with a certain Rainbow Road that's coming up, I still can't help but adore this one. It's one of the best Rainbow Road tracks visually and musically. I also love how there's a lot to this track, like going on Saturn, the moon, and through a spinning wheel thingy along the way as well. I have nothing else to say other than it's a really great track, and is by far the best 3DS track brought back, period. Coming in at 8th place is Calamari Desert from Mario Kart 64, by far the most visually pleasing desert track by far in this game. Plus, you get to finally go onto the railway tracks and into the tunnel, something that you couldn't do in the original versions. Even 7th version didn't do that. Anyway, this track is just pure vibes. The music is great, the visuals are nice, and it's an overall great desert track. Usually desert tracks can be a bit lackluster, but this one gets a pass. Coming in at 7th place is Sunshine Airport. I love seeing airports in media, and this one is no exception, which is why I appreciate the team at HIP for having an airport in Cornwall Engines. But the best part about it is the part where you get to fly up into the sky and fly beside the planes as they are taking off. Plus, if you look closely at one of the islands during the glider section, you can see a Koopa Island, in which Koopa Troopa Beach makes a cameo in there. And it makes me so disappointed that it wasn't in this game. And that's why I appreciate this track for having the balls to reference another track into a section. Just missing out on the top 5 is Yoshi's Island. Man, I love this track. From the course layout to the music to the amazing visuals as usual, everything about this track really stands out in its own right. This is also a very difficult track, but I think it's fair. And I love that little shortcut you can take through that waterfall. That's a really cool touch, especially when it's on time trials. I don't have much to say other than it's a great track and a great return to this game. Kicking up the top 5 is DK Mountain, another absolutely beautiful track to race on. I enjoyed this track when it was in Mario Kart Wii, and being able to race on this track again was such a breath of fresh air. And it's one of the few tracks where the DLC's graphics look stunning. The colors really pop out on this one. Also, is it just me, or does the bridge at the end give me Shake Shake Bridge vibes? I don't know, I think it's just me. Overall, this track is another gorgeous one. Definitely one of the best for sure. In 4th place, we have Yoshi's Island, the only new track in the entirety of the DLC. And man, what another beaut. From the music, to the visuals, to the enemies, everything just snaps in this track, and it makes me frustrated we don't have more tracks like this. And given that this was the only new track in this whole DLC, excluding the ones that weren't in tour yet, it really is amazing in its own right. Kicking up the top 3 is Waluigi Pinball, one of my all-time favorite Mario Kart tracks next to Coconut Mall and Airship Fortress. Seeing this track again really put a smile on my face, and the theming of this track being a giant pinball machine is a genius idea on Nintendo's part. Seeing all the neon lines and hearing the new sound effects really makes this one for me. Easily one of the greats without a doubt. Just missing out on the top spot is Rainbow Road from Mario Kart Wii. When I first saw this, I nearly teared up when I saw this. The colors really pop out. I love how you're mostly an anti-gravity throughout, and I especially find it hilarious how Nintendo finally decided to add guardrails in some parts of the track. Also, the music in this map, both the normal and final lap ones, is absolutely phenomenal. They took the original and redid it in a much better way and made it miles better than the original version. Definitely my favorite track in the DLC without a shadow of a doubt. However, nothing could beat out what I consider to be the best track in this entire game, Mount Wario. This track is insane. Sure, the ice can be a bit slippery, but what makes up for that is the layout. You start off at the very top of the mountain and make your way to the bottom through all these different obstacles. A cave, a dam, a forest, and a winter sports course that gives me heavy Snow and Under vibes. Yeah, the vocals are similar to the one in DK Summit, but it doesn't matter in the slightest. This track couldn't have been more worthy of being the best track in all of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. As I said before, Mario Kart 8 is a legendary game. Not just for me, but for many others. It has sold millions of copies around the world, and you can just tell that there was a lot of passion and effort put into this game by far. And with Deluxe's DLC wrapping up a few months ago, it has now turned into the ultimate Mario Kart game. But I think now is as good as time as any to see what the future holds for the Mario Kart series, whether good or bad. But thank you all so much for watching this long ass video. This is a lot of work, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Click the like button and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on all the content that goes up on the channel. Until next time, bye guys.